thank you, and I will be a Jewish rabbi. I think Sammy Davis Jr. was the first black Jewish rabbi, I think. I don't know. It was the Pope? Okay. You know, it's interesting that when you sit here and you think about all the things that we've done, Bishop Brooks, from 20 years ago when you first allowed me to be in charge of the prison ministry at Mount Zion and all the things, and you told me that if I messed up, you were going to fire me. I appreciate that. As I get calls from different parts of the country now, they're talking about, how did you all do what we do, Rabbi? And Dr. Dick Stein, what we do is not a big deal per se. When you think about the report and you read the report, there's no new information there. When you think about the university, we've been privileged and blessed to teach students, which is so important, Vince. We teach them from our book on community engagement because we understand that we're planting trees that we're not going to enjoy the shade. We understand at 53 years old, probably not going to be here at 106. Even though I'm going to watch my diet, Dr. Dick Stein. I'm going to exercise, Dr. Dick Stein. I'm not a smoker, Dr. Dick Stein. I'm not a drinker, Dr. Dick Stein. But that macaroni and cheese, Dr. Dick Stein. Y'all got to pray for me on that macaroni and cheese. So that's how the universities come into play. But now you think about it, the medical community. They're asking, why is the medical community involved? And it's this little thing called a Hippocratic Oath. That's how you get the medical community, because that's your Holy Scriptures. That's why you're here today, Dr. Funderburg. That's why. We don't have to make people come. People are already committed to come, Susan. We just have to give them something to come to. When you think about those of us from the faith community, since I'm Rabbi Odell Cleveland today, do I get one of... Okay. I always thought Rabbi Gutman used that to cover his bald spot, but that's a whole nother deal. Yes, tell him I said it. But when you look at our Holy Scriptures and you think, whether we're looking at the Torah, the Quran, the Bible, all the Holy Scriptures, and then we think about this one story. Think about one in Luke. We refer to it as the Good Samaritan. I think it's a situation where they say that coming down from the road from Jerusalem to Jericho, they say that the traveler fell among robbers. And Dr. Weinberg, they said they robbed him, they beat him, they took everything and left him for dead. Then they said that a priest came down the road. I say a Baptist preacher or a rabbi from the Jewish community. But those religious leaders, they said, walked around him. He was on one side of the street and they walked to the other side of the street. Just like many of us might walk in here or walk out of here and we see somebody at that door and Meryl, we might go to the other side because we're not used to seeing people on the Jericho Road here that we call Martin Luther King Jr. Drive. As sad as it is, in most communities, when you say Martin Luther King Jr. Drive, you're talking about Jericho Road. You're talking about a certain side of town. Nobody don't say it. I don't have sense enough not to say it, Fred. And you have to be careful who you help and who you come against when you're on the Jericho Road on the east side of Greensboro. You have to be careful. You're going to have it where, Odell? You're going to have it at Evans Blunt? What's wrong with you? Evans Blunt? Why not Evans Blunt? If we're walking through the Scriptures, and then later on, said a Levite came down and walked on the other side of the street. Can't get involved, can't be involved. Maybe the Levites, maybe the university. Coming from the ivory towers, coming into the community, can we play community engagement? That might be the Levites, go the other way. But then the Scriptures went on and said, it was a Samaritan. Said the Samaritan saw the need. Maybe that was your group who was coming together for 2 years. And I know you argued because I know you like to argue. I could tell you like to argue. But I like to argue too. That's why I love you. So the Samaritan stopped. And they said the Samaritan went and bandages his wounds. It says the Samaritan took oil and wine. Dr. Dixon, you said folks can't drink. But he said he had oil and wine. Excess. Oh, thank you. Macaroni cheese in excess? He said he took care of him. And then when he got through, and the ironic thing to my Jewish brethren here is that the Samaritans didn't get along with the traditional Jews at the time. Somewhat, right? Give me an amen. It's okay. So if anybody shouldn't have stopped on Martin Luther King Jr.'s drive, it shouldn't have been all of us. If anybody shouldn't have came over here today, it shouldn't have been Dr. Sherry Dixon. Why did you come? Why did you stop on Martin Luther King Jr. Drive? Why did you come over here today on Martin Luther King Jr. Drive? Don't you understand this is Jericho Road? Then he stopped, and they said he put it on his beast. He got off of his beast, his form of transportation, put the injured person on his form of transportation, and took him to an inn. That's why I get frustrated sometimes. When I hear that we're fighting over what inn is the person who's hurt going to. Is he going to Evans Mine? That's just one inn. Is he going to Cone? That's just one inn. Is he going to Cornerstone? That's just one inn. Is the person going to Health? That's just one inn. That's not the inn. That's one inn. We have enough poor people in need to fill up all the inns. And we're fighting over who gets the money for one inn. Y'all got to help with that now. Because we're wasting resources. We're drawing lines, building walls. We're making enemies when we don't have time and we don't have the time, talent, and treasure to waste it fighting amongst ourselves. Then the Samaritan took him to the innkeeper. And he stayed there. The next morning, I think this Holy Scripture says, he had 2 shekels, 2 silver shekels. Gave it to the innkeeper. I guess that may be a copay. And then he said, I'm going to tell you what. You take care of this individual. Because, see, sometimes things happen when you're minding your own business. Sometimes breast cancer happened to my mother, so I understand. Minding your own business. Sometimes mental issues happen minding your own business. They said the traveler wasn't doing anything wrong. No blame. The traveler was minding his own business. But he fell upon the robbers. And so now the Good Samaritan told him, I'm his insurance policy. When I come back, I'll reimburse you for everything you did. Just take care of him. So what we're going to have to say in this room, we're going to have to be Greensboros, High Points, Guilford County. We're going to have to be somebody's insurance policy. I know I ain't much, but I'm going to have to be somebody's insurance policy. So it makes me uncomfortable to hear Odell Bob, Odell Bob, Odell Bob. Yeah. But it ain't no Odell and Bob. It's us. So he told the innkeeper, when I come back, I'll take care of it. And he did.